I bet you're making one of these tiny mistakes as a producer, trying to sell beats or even sample kits. And don't worry, in this video, we're gonna cover the fixes for you as well. And the best part is that 4 of these tiny mistakes are things that I have never covered in a video before on this channel. So let's get into the first one, the only one that I have covered before on this channel because I need to make it important for you. Google Analytics. The number one reason that you need Google Analytics installed on your Beat Store is because you need to track how many visitors from social media are actually coming to your Beat Store. Over the past few years now, it's been the same exact story for so many producers. They work so hard on creating a type beat channel. They post all this content on Instagram, maybe TikTok, and they finally start seeing some visibility, maybe getting their first 20,000 views on their type beat channel on YouTube. But there is one single issue. They still have not made one single sale. How could 20,000 YouTube views equal no sales? Well, it's because you are not seeing the most important part. How many viewers actually clicked the link in your description? You have to understand, right? This is like having a physical food store and running a huge event where 20,000 people pass by your store and they take a sample of your food, but none of them actually walk through the doors to your shop. And so having views on your YouTube is great for visibility, but if nobody clicks the link to your Beat Store in the description, it means they're not taking that next step to either engage with your beats or your kits. And so when you have no idea how many people are coming to your website, you're just operating blindly. And the biggest reason we track this is because there's a thing called conversion rate. In e-commerce, which selling beats or selling kits is, you can expect a similar 2.5 to 3% conversion rate because that's the average among e-commerce stores. Meaning that on average of every 100 visitors, you can expect 2 to 3 purchases. So if you get 2 to 3 visitors per day, it's gonna be extremely hard from that point to start selling beats or even building up an email list because the website traffic just is not there yet. And listen, that's the part of building a business from this. Even with doing all the right things, it takes time and consistency. And the reason I say this is because so many producers wonder when they're gonna get that first sale. And if you're able to see how many website visitors you're actually getting, you can see if there's actual progress to people going to your Beat Store in the first place. And to fix this, there's some videos linked in the description to help you get it set up. Okay, second tiny mistake. Once somebody does join your email list, there's no welcome email to them. And so with email being a way to directly communicate with your leads or customers, this first email is huge. This is super important because this person just joined your email list and you are fresh in their brain. This email is going to have an extremely high open rate. We usually see 40 up to 70% for the first email of somebody joining your list or after buying something. And so if you compare that to the normal 20% average open rate that email usually has, this first email is super important because people are gonna see it. Because listen, if you promise them something for free to sign up, or if they just purchase something with their money, they're gonna open up that email. Now here's the thing, yes, not everybody responds or opens this email. That's just how this works. But the whole point of sending out these emails is the way to start creating a conversation or at least let someone know you're trying to reach out to them. For new people who have free downloaded a beat, this is a great way to get some messaging going. So that way you're just not some random producer they found on YouTube, they're actually starting to build up some brand of you. And for your customers, this is a great way to thank them for spending their money and getting them to come back and spend more of their money. Yes, guys, can you believe it? We're gonna get people to try and spend more money with you. That's a business. And for anyone who says email marketing doesn't work, the example screenshots I just showed you were the responses that we received after setting up email marketing for a producer named Louie in the past 2 weeks. And hell, even thanks to a welcome email and a few replies, Louie is now working on an exclusive deal from a free download. Whether or not that goes through, who knows, but the opportunity is there thanks to that automated email. By the way, automated. This stuff is all automated. But that brings me to an important part with email marketing. You need to put some actual effort into talking like a normal human being. You have to understand this is where you can further establish your brand with someone and be more than just a random type beat producer. Now, obviously, if you're just sending buy now 30% off emails, click this button, no one's gonna reply other than some very mean things. Sales emails do have a time and a place, but even then, you wanna put more effort into it than, hey, here's a coupon and buy this now. And because we're gonna get this solved for you, here's an email you can send to people once they join your email list. Okay, now this takes me to the next tiny factor. You need to understand the customer journey better. So remove the idea of customer versus non-customer and think about it in this way. Imagine you going to the studio with an artist that you have worked with now for 5 years versus going to the studio with a random artist you have never met or talked to before. The vibes between those two sessions would be very different because of the dynamics of the relationships you have with those two people. And you need to think about it the same way with email marketing and the customer journey. You want to talk to someone who has spent $0 with you differently than someone who has spent $300 with you. And this also applies not just with email, but with overall marketing in general. And we're going to get down and dirty with giving 2 examples of how we incorporate this with selling beats and selling kits. Now, with selling beats, you have your free downloads and you have your paying customers. And with email, what you can do is you can create segments so that way we can separate free people versus paying customers. This means we can send pretty much the same email, but tweak maybe 1 or 2 lines to personally speak to someone if they downloaded a free beat or if they're a paying customer. For example, let's break down an email we sent in an end of summer sales sequence we ran last year for Matthew May, Rujay, and Dilly. Altogether, this sales campaign made over $9,000 combined for those 3 producers, by the way. If you want to watch the video where I actually documented this, here's the thumbnail to look for on the channel. So here's the email we sent to free downloaders. Pay attention to the line that's highlighted. And then here is the exact same email, but we just altered that line to be sent to then paying customers. I understand this may seem like a small difference, but when you personalize your email marketing, even though it's automated, it doesn't seem like it's completely robotic, and it shows that you actually do care. Okay, so now let's switch to selling kits, because with doing the whole selling kits, there's a little bit more, let's say, functionalities you can have. So Kavi, who has Sonics Audio, last year he created a $5 mini stash pack. The plan here was to create a kit that would be a no-brainer for $5. This kit really wasn't meant to be a generate a ton of money product, but the whole point was to get people in the door and experience the quality of sound, so that way they would then go from a $5 kit to maybe a $40 kit. And here's how we use it 2 places on the site that are very strategic. One, if you go to checkout with a free kit on his store, you get a pop-up for this $5 kit. And this is very specific because someone who is just looking for free sounds, they're probably not looking to spend $40 or $50 on a normal kit. Now, of course, not everybody takes this offer, but because it's only a $5 offer, it's a lot easier to get somebody to take the $5 offer versus trying to get them to go from free to automatically spending $40 or $50. And we also use this as an upsell page for once someone gets his latest community kit and some other free offers. Same thing, we're trying to go from free to $5 because there's not that much of a jump there from like free to $50. And then you have the opposite side where the actual customer journey is happening. What about somebody who spends $167 to buy Elements of R&B from Sonics? Well, they just spent over $150 on sounds, so we can show them higher offers than just a $5 kit because they've proven to us they see the value in these sounds that Kavi is selling. So an example of this is an email we just recently created in his email funnel that pushes people towards the Other Soul bundle, which is an $80 product after they buy Elements of R&B. And then the last point for today, too long of urgency with sales or misusing scarcity. The marketing tactics of urgency and scarcity give people a reason to take action. For example, if you run a flash sale for 48 hours, people won't wait around because they're gonna wanna get it because it's gonna end so soon. Then if you do something where you say only 20 copies available, people once again won't wait around because there's not that many available. The issue comes when you make urgency too long or you make your scarcity too big. For an example, a lot of issue I see with producers is they run a sale for like 40 days. If there's still 37 days available for your sale, there's no urgency right now and there's no urgency building up. Versus if you do a 7-day sale, even with 5 days left, there's still a good amount of urgency starting to build up. Or if you have an email list of 200 people and 500 YouTube subscribers, saying that you have something with only 500 copies available, people can just see from your public audience that you are not going to reach that cap of 500 and you're just lying. So when you run a sales campaign with urgency, you always want to have a deadline that isn't too far away, or if you're using scarcity, actually limit it to amount of copies that's possible for you to sell out of. And here's the thing, when you do this properly, you're almost gonna see kind of this style of graph on screen. You launch the product and hopefully you've been hyping it up, so when you launch it does well. Then over the next few days, it kind of loses some of the hype, but then with it ending soon, the urgency and sales pick back up. And here's the thing, right? With scarcity, you need to make it realistic of numbers of what you can actually sell. For instance, with J Cactus, the Deep Sweet bundle the other week we had launched for him, we had the first 100 copies have an extra price discount plus some special bonuses. We chose 100 because specifically based on the previous launch we did with him a few months ago, we knew that we could probably easily hit that number within maybe a day or two. And because we'd done so well hyping it up, it actually sold out those first 100 copies in the first few hours. And here's the thing, right? Because people know how big Jay's audience is, people could take an estimated guess, okay, these 100 copies, they're probably gonna sell out fast. We even made that a point of emphasis in those emails that we sent out as well. Now here's the thing, if we chose something like 500 copies just based on the math, and we hadn't really done that before, he would probably be able to do it, but it might take 3 to 4 weeks. And then it kind of backfires on you because after the first week or 2 weeks, it really loses its hype. And then it really starts working against you because if you keep seeing 300 copies left, then 5 days later it's 295 copies left, then a week later it's 260 copies left, it doesn't really seem like anybody's actually buying this thing, so it makes you want to buy it less because it's really not being bought. So if you found this video helpful, please make sure to comment something new that you learned and also join the Heat Discord. And by the way, there's 4 other marketing tricks we use just like urgency, so if you want to learn those secret tactics, watch this video.